Good morning, it's Wisdom Wednesdays. I am Ariana Newcomer, and today I'm talking about our vagus nerve, which is a really important nerve, and you need to know about it if you don't. It's usually spoken about in the singular, which is interesting, the vagus nerve, but it's actually two nerves that are cranial nerves so they come from the cranium, and they actually go to all of our organs. So they're very, very important nerves. And they're at the center of what we call our parasympathetic nervous system. I am Ariana Newcomer. I'm a priestess, spiritual mentor, and biofield tuning practitioner. And balancing this vagus nerve is so important for us. And I have been working with, studying, learning about things like the vagus nerve for many years. And it is really crucial because it goes to all of our organs. Of course, it's crucial for our digestion. It's crucial for good digestion. It also helps with our mood. And it helps to balance us and bring us out of stress when we're feeling stressed. And so many of us are dealing with just too much chronic stress in our world in these times. And so understanding how to balance your vagus nerve and how to assist yourself to move out of that fight or flight sympathetic nervous system into the calming and centering system, which some people call the rest and digest, but I like to call it the calming and centering system, the parasympathetic nervous system, is so valuable for us. So vagus means wanderer, and they named that nerve the wanderer because of how far it goes, because it really wanders around. So it goes to our larynx, actually, to our ears. So it has connection to our hearing, to our voice, and it then connects into the heart and lungs, and then it goes below the diaphragm and connects into all of those digestive organs down there. And interestingly enough, as I was just doing some research on this the other day, it does not innervate the adrenal glands. It does the kidneys, but not the adrenal glands. So, and that possibly has to do with the fact that, of course, the adrenals are activated when we're under stress, and they are producing the chemicals that help us run, fight, get away, all that kind of stuff. And the vagus is working with the opposite effect of calming us down. So slowing heart rate and helping with digestion. So when we go into that sympathetic response, the fight or flight response, where the blood is taken away from our digestive system, so we're not going to digest our food very well. And so the vagus nerve helps us digest once we come back into a more calm place. One of the ways that we can balance our vagus nerve is because of its connection to the auditory nerves, is we can use music. And I've talked about this in the past, about using music that has slower tempos and lower frequencies. That's calming, and you're actually accessing your vagus nerves and helping them to then stimulate those other calming mechanisms to slow down our heart rate and to activate the digestive system. And excuse me, having a lot of allergies here in this part of California right now. The trees are blooming, my dear friends, the trees, but whoof, they're giving me lots of allergies. So other ways that you can help to balance your vagus nerve are to have a biofield tuning session. Biofield tuning is a wonderful way to bring yourself into that more calm and centered state. And we can do specific things with the tuning forks to actually connect to the vagus nerves and get them working more properly again. We also do what we call the adrenal reset. So I was working with a client yesterday who has had this just chronic adrenal hyperdrive, and she has had a lot of digestive issues. And it makes sense. If you're always in your fight or flight mode, your digestive system is kind of shut down. So we were working with her adrenals yesterday to reset their rhythm so that they can let go of that constant being on and that adrenal overwhelm. So getting to know your vagus nerves is a way that you can really promote healing as well, and balancing the vagus nerves is because we're not in the healing state when we're in the fight or flight mode either. When we're under stress and we're running those stress chemicals, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, through our systems, we're not hooking into the healing mechanisms. So when we calm down and we come more into that calm and centered place, then it activates our abilities to heal, our self-healing mechanisms. So this vagus nerve is the vagus nerves, sorry, they are extremely important and valuable. And another really interesting thing that I found when I was reading, there's a man named Stephen Porges who has done a lot of research on the vagus nerves, and he has what he calls his polyvagal theory, that the vagus nerves are also responsible for some of our social connections, that because they connect to our facial muscles. When we're under stress and the vagus nerve is underactivated, we will have a more flat facial affect. And this is something that can be involved in people who have autism or on the autism spectrum, and people who have ADD, ADHD. And so using music consciously is very helpful for those conditions to rebalance the vagus nerve so that people can relax, so that people can interact socially through our facial muscles. That social interaction, our faces let somebody know, I'm safe to talk to, I'm safe to be with. But if we have this very flat facial affect and we don't have expression, then we're not giving that message that I'm safe to talk to, I'm safe to be with. And my sense is too that since people on the autism spectrum often have difficulty reading facial expressions, that kind of disconnect from their own vagus nerves and their own facial expressions may affect their ability to read other people's facial expressions as well. But here's another really interesting piece too. You've probably heard that people are now starting to say fight, flight, or freeze as things that our sympathetic nervous system does, but the freezing, the immobilization is actually the vagus nerves. They're the ones that kind of shut us down. And so that place where, and this has happened very often with people who are attacked, that we just freeze, women who are raped, and you try and bring a case against your rapist and they want to know in court why you didn't fight. Well, it's because your vagus nerves actually just shut everything down. That's a survival mechanism too. So, and it's my sense that this would tend to happen more often with women than men, just because we are physically less strong, and so we might use that as a survival strategy more often than men. But to be aware that if you have been through this kind of trauma and you did shut down and you didn't fight back if you were attacked in some way, your vagus nerves shut down. That's a normal physiological response to trauma. And so you can stop blaming yourself. You can stop blaming yourself for having shut down, not fought back, because your nervous system did it. It was an autonomic nervous system response. It was below the conscious level. So rebalancing the vagus nerves is very, very helpful and important for people who have been through this kind of trauma. So you can also use your own voice to help rebalance your vagus nerves. Humming as really helpful for your own vagus nerves, because you're activating your voice, which is connected to the vagus nerves, the larynx. You're also activating your own hearing, your hearing systems, which are also connected to the vagus nerves, and you're using breath. So slow, conscious, deep breathing is also extremely helpful in rebalancing the vagus nerve and bringing yourself into that more calm and centered state. So when you find yourself stressed out, start doing some humming, listen to some music in low frequencies and slow tempos, especially with headphones, is helpful. Do your conscious, slow, deep breathing, because that movement of the diaphragm moves down as we inhale, back up as we exhale. And so it's really, really helping to stimulate the vagus nerves. So use all those things. And if you would like to have a biofield tuning session to help rebalance your vagus nerves and reset your adrenals, I would be delighted to help you. There will be a link in the comments where you can connect, have a conversation with me. See you next time.